just can't stand it. Drives me crazy. Grinds my gears.
You don't really
Grinds
grind my gears.
Grinds
Grinds
my gears.
Oh man, what a reference.
So, start off, I guess, non-spoiler review for Blue Beetle real quickly.
Guest host is pissed out there.
Poor Freya.
I know. It's hard life.
As the Snyder cultist,
Had to say
which all you
Cultist.
fucking
One
Snyder
more
fans
time.
out there,
One more time.
all you
Andrea,
other fellow
one more
Snyder
time.
fans out there, you should be supporting this movie
100%.
because Zack Snyder supported this movie, and Mr. David Ayer has been in support of this movie. So, if you really want to show how big the Snyder fandom still is, even though you haven't showed up hardly at all the past 9 movies, then show up for once. Like,
Yeah.
despite what you think of like the current universe, like, I don't know, if you're truly a fan of Zack's and you support him, like he's supportive of this movie, so is David Ayer. Like, and this movie, I think, warrants you going to see it. It's actually pretty impressive that this was supposed to be originally a Max, just straight to Max movie, and they gave it the extra budget. And I will say, there are times where I could, not how it looks, just certain ways that it's framed and shot, that I can see that. But overall, I think the budget that they put, the extra budget that they went and put back into it, they did a fucking phenomenal job.
Yeah, they cleaned it up.
The CGI in this, I have no problem saying this at all, is flat out better than The Flash. And this is a fraction of the budget. That's because I think the Angel is the name of the who's the director? I want to get this right.
Angel Soto.
Yeah. Definitely is a lover of practical effects and not so much leaning on VFX because you can tell. And it makes sense because he probably knew going this, it was a Max, straight to Max movie, didn't have the budget that a big time movie would be, so he relied on practical effects, and I think that 100% paid off in the end because I think everything looked really crispy.
So good. So good. Dude, the best part is, like you said, the practical effects were so prominent that those small moments where they actually had to use the strong visual effects, it was, like you said, the crispness of like when he would change in the beginning, set me off. It's like when he was on the ceiling, crawling across the ceiling and shit, and his mouth was open and he had
So
all that
good.
shit in his mouth. That was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I really like the family dynamic in this movie. So a thing I think is good about it might be a bad thing for some people. Is granted, I don't know how many superhero movies we've had at this point.
I mean, it does the family dynamic better than the Shazam movies.
Definitely.
I wouldn't disagree necessarily. Well, definitely the second one.
Yeah, that's really what I meant to get at.
I meant as far as like, this movie does definitely borrow from a lot of other comic book movies. It's a very big hodgepodge of, like, there's, as much as I do love this movie also isn't doing anything inherently like special or different. But it's a really good, solid origin movie, I think. But
to be fair,
I could see some people maybe coming into this and being like, "Yep, I've seen this before," because you probably have.
To be fair, the hodgepodge effect is real, but this character also is real. The more like real, like Iron Man of DC. Like, yeah, is Batman the rich billionaire that makes himself a superhero and that's comparable to Iron Man? Yes, but as far as, like, wearing a suit and having just this unlimited amount of capability with it, Blue Beetle is actually more like Iron Man.
Yeah,
and I think
even
that's
with
why
the
you
voice.
kind of...
The voice and everything.
Right, and that's kind of why you will watch it and you definitely will sit there and think, especially if you don't know shit from reading comics or just watching other, like, animated shows is what I should say. Yeah, it's going to feel like a hodgepodge, and you're just going to sit there and maybe judge it as like, oh, well, this is just ripping off of, all these MCU movies. It's like, well, You're not wrong, but
I mean,
there's also a reason.
honestly, like if somebody came up to me
Superhero
and
movies
this
in general.
movie did it pretty well, if they were like, "Well, who's Blue Beetle? Like, what's his powers?" All right, imagine Peter Parker Spider-Man gets in contact with an alien like symbiote venom type technology that gets a hold of him, that gives him an Iron Man suit, that gives him Green Lantern powers. That's Blue Beetle.
Hot.
So it is interesting how you say
Right.
Iron Man. To me, Blue Beetle, like the most out of those, I get Spider-Man vibes because he's the younger man. He's the younger hero.
Well, it's like
I
the
can't blame
whole-
you for saying Iron Man. He's got a
Well, it's the
freaking
whole,
suit,
but it's the
like a
whole like
robotic suit, but-
nano. It's like the nanotech effect
Yeah,
of
no.
like how the weapons form.
Jaime Reyes, his character, is a Peter Parker 100%. I
Yes.
feel like.
Yeah.
That and like when he's doing I'm not a killer, it almost like, and I'm not gonna. We're still in non-spoilers, right? So at this point, I just
So
wanted to
spoilers.
well, I was gonna say, just because of that, it's like, it seems like that kiddish, boyish, we're not a killer type of thing. It does bleed into the movie, and where Peter, he never really does that until it kind of gets shoved in his face. Well, the new Peter, the most recent Peter.
Mhm.
Yeah, most recent Peter. Until it's shoved in his face, he doesn't really have to do that. But yeah, I could see that. I could see his character being Peter Parker, but then Iron Man when he's in go mode. And I'm trying to be careful with what I say here. I don't want to be spoiler.
Maybe some slight. That was kind of a slight con, I guess. But villains are kind of. I mean, I'll say it, they're nothing special.
They could have
Something they did something kind of cool with Carapax at the end that I thought was kind of cool, but
they could have done so much more. I think, especially if we would have known that earlier.
but I
Certain
mean,
things.
Susan Sarandon, very cookie cutter, very bland, very traditional. Just
Dude, she was at the con I was at. Only celebrity guest that had a whole curtain section around her booth. So you couldn't see her or photograph her from just standing out.
DC's new biggest villain, man. Well,
That is definitely not the reason at all as to why she did that. She did that just because she doesn't want people to take photos of her.
I'm trying to make that
When-
mother and money.
Yeah,
dude.
she just she's just
And
she's
money.
just so to a T. I want to sell it. You know, you're not gonna. I mean, I didn't take photos, but shit, I fucking wide open could have had Sam Raimi right there. Boom, snapshot, photo of him. Same thing with Christopher Lloyd. Saw him right there. Boom. Anthony Michael Hall, Randy Quaid. Saw all of them. Was like, could have just been like, click, real quick. I didn't do that.
$250.
Yeah.
$250.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
$250.
I just saved this much. I just saved this much. I mean, I didn't do that because, like, you know, they don't want you to do that, and I respect them for not wanting you to do that, and I respect the fact that they don't sit there and kind of Wizard of Oz themselves. But she did that, and I was like, and I never saw her. And some people are even saying, like, kind of rolling their eyes about it, and I was just like, yeah. And you do you. You're a celebrity. I mean,
Name,
shit.
image, and likeness, baby. NIL all day long.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The most cookie cutter of villains, like, I mean, at least they gave it some background explanation when the love interest heroine is like explaining to him like why she is the cookie cutter villain type. But yeah, I mean, as far as the performance, yes.
it really did feel like they were like, all right, we got Susan Sarandon for 2 days. Let's get this shit fucking done.
Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping.
I will say, like, I didn't even know she was in the movie. That was like I go, oh shit. Hey, I literally was just in the location that you were. Just
No curtain this time.
yeah.
It was only $17 to see you.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think the family dynamic really worked. I think there was a lot of love to Latin culture, which I thought was really cool.
And fucking hilarious.
Yeah, George Lopez is fucking hilarious. in this.
Money.
Dude, he was so funny.
I don't even usually like him either. Like stand up and stuff. And
Oh,
like his
really?
show, I don't even like him like that.
Oh man.
And dude, just lit me up. Lit me, bro.
So funny.
Bro, I was weak for half that fucking movie, dude. Even the stuff the sister was saying, I'm losing
The
it.
sister was hilarious.
Hilarious, dude. That whole family, dude.
Oh my god, she actually quietly you got a good chuckle out of it too. I think
Which one?
the slight spoiler, it's just a little joke, but when he's like talking about how you guys hiring like a paralegal, or no, I think she says, you guys hiring a paralegal, you guys need a pre-lawyer.
A pre-lawyer.
It was such a throwaway background line, but I like got me so good.
It was so, dude, and it's such a great dig at like, oh, you graduated what, pre-law? Cool. Cool. What are you gonna go do with that pre-law? What are you gonna go do? That's funny.
I think most of the humor hits in this movie for like there's some that don't land. Like I'll get into it in spoiler territory. When I'll allude to it here, but we'll talk about it when he gets to the desk at Court Industries.
Yes.
I was like, this joke makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Which one? What part?
See, we don't even know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. That's how much it didn't land.
Yeah, it must have.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
That thing must still be in the air somewhere.
That
didn't go down.
I'll start spoiler section off with that just to get it
Okay.
out of the way. But I guess that kind of like wraps up. Unless you guys have anything else to say non-spoilery before we get into it, but I definitely recommend seeing this movie. Like, please go see this movie.
Highly,
Saying
for more than reasons we talked about with supporting DCU and getting everything going, it's worth your time, 100%.
They very bold, but I applaud them for upgrading this to a theatrical release and giving it the extra money to do it because
I'm glad.
I think it was. I'm glad we got to see it in IMAX.
And
Like,
IMAX.
It was cool.
Yeah. When we rewatch it, it'll be interesting to see how much of an effect that IMAX did have on the movie. Because, dude, it was
Especially
big time.
Especially the fucking sound.
Yeah.
Like especially when her helicarrier, I'll just go fucking helicarrier. You felt that some bitch in there. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was loud.
Oh yeah.
But highly recommend. Yeah, we always do rating at the end of spoiler section. So yeah, just thumbs up from me, unless you're going to join us in the spoiler section.
Definitely. All thumbs up. Wish I had more thumbs.
I can't even tell if I'm in the shot.
Just your thumb.
Hell yeah.
Just an arm.
He's leaning back so much.
So I'm leaning back so much because I don't like sitting upright.
Yeah. God. Unbelievable.
Now we talk the spoilers. Okay, so he
let's
goes
go.
into Court Industry, right? He's like, I gotta find Jenna.
Yeah.
Jesus. Anytime she was on screen for you.
Let me just explain to you really quick. I have a thing, and it's called like a weakness.
Oh,
You know,
we've talked about this.
and it's like Brazilian women.
Well,
And
to be fair,
this particular
Central
one,
and Southern American women just kind of in general get me going.
just and we won't elaborate. I won't elaborate, but I'll say all this.
Jeff's got a lot of blood
Heisa
flow going to his
gabagool.
mid-region.
I'm telling you,
That was fucking great.
dude.
That was great.
I think the first words that came out of my mouth when she came on the screen, I go, "Oh shit!" and Jordan looks so rapid, he's just giggling the whole time.
I like how she was gangster sitting in the high ass stilettos, just on that couch, just like
That was
power sitting with the legs spread wide
just
open.
man spreading for
Yeah.
everybody. I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, I just go, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, we heard you and we were fucking dying laughing.
almost any time the screen was focused on her, something was coming out of Bull's mouth.
I'm like, "Let's go."
At the end when she she's walking back to the motorcycle and it kind of had like her leg shots. You just hear Bull. Jesus.
Oh, dude, she got me.
That's funny.
She got
me.
She got me. She got me good. They got me. They picked the right person for that role. They got me because I'd have taken a scarab up the butt for to bag her, bro.
Culo!
Yeah, he went this culo. It says it did not.
Yeah, it did not.
It was so good. Oh my god, dude. Oh, dude, when they're just all screaming, it's just, dude, that shit was so funny when he first turns and they're screaming in the fucking dining room. That shit was so funny.
See, that's kind of my gripe, though, is I felt like that wasn't as, like, I felt like, yeah, he's hanging up in the ceiling and this thing is taking over and coloring his skin.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of, like, not freaking out as much as I would think that people in reality, you'd be like screaming your fucking lungs off looking at that.
She was. Sure, the mom went, ah, like showed her face. Like,
I
going
don't
nuts.
know, man. I felt like
I actually agree with KP here. You are right. They freak out at the very beginning because I caught this too, which was kind of weird. They freak out in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they're just kind of calm after that. Then they just stare and watch. And then even when he like flies off out of the building, they're still just fucking standing there.
That's
and
what I mean. And then when they cut
to the, and even when they cut to the mom later, and she's on the phone like talking to the police. Yeah, he's just.
There's not a real sense of urgency.
There's no sense of urgency or anything. Like,
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, something moved. I was saying
that was me moving the damn battery thing. But we're good. We're good.
But they. I mean, there was probably a good like. For the entire time he was changing, everybody was freaking out. Rudy got thrown into a freaking fridge, got blasted.
I mean, you're right. I more agree with Jay that I just kind of sat there. I was like, okay, this is kind of how I think this movie's a little cheesy because, yeah, they did for like 5 seconds at first, and then it was kind of like they just got quiet. And we're just kind of,
dude. I think we need to rewatch that because it was a lot longer than I think you're giving it credit for. Because they were screaming forever, dude. They were screaming forever.
And like Jordan said, even like when he flies out of the house, they're just kind of like,
yeah, they all go completely silent and they're just staring at him, and then it cuts to him.
But I felt like they had been silent for like a hot minute.
You want him to scream for 20 minutes?
I do. That's what I'd be doing. Like,
dude, if I saw somebody fly away, my mouth would just open, and I'd be like, okay. I do exactly what they do.
And I'm sorry.
And also, to be fair, when Jaime's in the suit, he does spend his first 20 minutes in the suit screaming.
That's fair. and literally not doing anything correct, just getting slammed into every fucking thing. Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, I don't think this is cheesy. I don't necessarily agree with that aspect, but.
And I'm not necessarily dogging on the scene either because what I did like I loved the first transformation and like the body horror.
Dude, the mouth when it's black and it's like fucking tar.
Like
when he opened his mouth, I was like, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
When we sat down, and I think immediately after we sat down, I think we got like 2 horror movie trailers, and I was like, why the fuck are they? Like, I get that fall's coming, but like, why are we getting so many horror movies for this movie? And then when that scene happens, I was like, it kind of makes sense.
I got it.
Yeah, it made a little sense.
Get yourselves ready for the fucking October, because there's going to be so many horseshit, scary movies coming out.
That's every year.
They never. Well, exactly, but we got the Exorcist remake this year. So,
dude, put it this way.
They're
usually fucking so bad it's hilarious.
It's bad.
That's why I watch them, man.
Dude, I don't even try it anymore until somebody tells me that something is. And usually it's the jump scare bullshit. Now that's all it is. It's all jump scares. There's nothing that's actually like, man, that fucked with me. Like that is the movie I'm looking for. But I digress.
It's only I've seen the meme where it's me watching a scary movie, and then at the end it says based on a true story, and it's like fetal position with a crucifix like when you're going to sleep. I was like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not really that religious, if at all. And yeah, definitely when I watching The Fourth Kind. You ever watch that movie?
I love that movie.
And that movie, yeah, at the end, just based on actual events. I go to bed just, shit, fucking aliens, man.
Keep the fucking windows closed.
Yeah.
No blue lights getting in here, man.
That movie's fucking freaky.
It is, dude, and it's so well done too, especially for the time period it came out and what they did with it. It's pretty good.
All right, back to Blue Beetle.
Yeah, Blue Beetle.
Yep, Blue Beats.
Different aliens.
Yeah, no shit. So now we're past the transformation, him getting shit whipped and cutting buses in half.
Which that scene again, hodgepodge. That's straight up from Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
Cutting the bus in half.
Yep.
Hell, even kind of rocketing way up into orbits, reminiscent of the first Iron Man when he's testing the whole test thing. She's testing flight capability or whatever. And that's the whole. It's the same thing.
Systems test.
It's like systems test. Let's go all the way up. Okay, now we're gonna free fall back down.
Catch myself.
And then catch myself at the end. And yeah,
dude, that fucking those dudes sitting on the street corner, and it says, "I took that. What did we take that about 20 minutes ago?"
Yeah.
They dropped drugs
my
and shit,
God.
and it's. I think it's hitting me right now. It flies off. That was perfect, dude. Oh God, it was so good.
Did you like that the
actually-
scarab was a female voice?
Sure, I liked it. I didn't feel like or dislike towards
See, I
it.
watched the Young Justice cartoon where Blue Beetle's a big character in it, and like the scarab is like this angry sounding like male voice, and it was different to have like, again, I hate to relate it, but like the kind of the whole Iron Man thing with Friday. It's like the female AI voice thing. I was like, oh, okay, but
I mean, I think I mentioned this like previous episode before we came like this came out, but the only thing I really cared about is that the suit could talk to Jaime, but nobody else could hear the suit, or if they did, it just sounded like alien garbage, and they not garbage, sorry, alien language that they just couldn't understand. So,
but yeah, this movie they could hear it, right?
I don't think they could.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, yeah, because remember at the very end, or when she's like, he said, "Stop," and she goes, "What?" He goes, "Not you. I was talking to."
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good because I think isn't that traditionally how it is? Like only he can hear it.
I've seen some iterations. At least my interpretation of the comics, it seems like they'll go ahead and make like bubbles for it that are like in a weird language that obviously can't read.
That would have been cool if they
But-
would have used
so it's
that
like-
a little bit. That would have been kind of cool.
To me, sometimes it almost seems like other people can hear it. They just don't understand what the hell. It almost just
That would have been.
it sounds something like that to them basically, but to Jaime he can
The
understand
shit,
it.
the shit from Dune.
Oh my dude, did you see that video I sent you? The power lifter, the deadlifter. He says we don't need any rituals, and it says every power lifter. I know, man. It shows all them doing those chants.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so good, so perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, since he already has a suit, before he got the suit, the joke that didn't land at all and was very poorly
Oh
written.
yeah.
One of the few that was really
Which
terrible.
one was it?
So he walks into Cord to get
The job.
the job, and he goes up to the desk and he says his name is Jaime,
Oh yeah.
and she goes
Jamie.
Jamie, and
Yeah.
it's like that joke doesn't work unless she is such a like racist bigot that she's
I think
openly.
that's what they were
That's
going
exactly
for.
what it was.
But it doesn't come off that way. It almost just would have been better if they would have set it up like they had like a sign-in sheet or something, and she was like, sign your name, and then he did it. And then she says like Jamie, and then he says no, Jaime, and then if she still corrects it again, that's when it's kind of funny of like, oh, it's an ignorant bigot asshole.
I just think
But,
it was
like-
ignorant.
I mean, that's what they were going for.
Ignorant white folks is basically how it was.
But
to
the
me.
ignorant white folks
Well,
joke
right.
doesn't work when the name isn't written out for them to be ignorant. How would she know that's how Jaime's spelled if
you're
she's that
supposed to
ignorant?
kind
Or
of
she,
understand.
she knows that
Jay.
H's are J's, and she's probably just.
You're
saying
you're
that
supposed
it's
to understand that they are white bigots because, see, what's happening is that where they live is getting gentrified by the rich corporations that are run by white people. So you're just kind of supposed to know that the white people that work for said rich corporation owned by white people are bigots. But like you said,
just like Sanchez.
it's kind of not like it's kind of not smacked in your face so much. Like that whole part of it is there, and yeah, it makes sense. 'cause
Sanchez.
I mean,
that was a whole line of the movie that they kept bringing back over and over and over and over.
Oh,
and
yeah,
over
yeah,
and over.
I know, but
Yeah.
again, in the way it's set up in the scene, it just logically
Oh, it
doesn't
didn't
make
work
sense.
at all.
Now,
No, it didn't work at all.
if she turned to him and was like, "I think you mean Jamie," it's like, "Oh, racist bitch." Okay, no longer funny, but
Right.
it's
Right.
like I think if it was gonna, it seemed like they tried to set it up as a
think it
joke,
was
but
just
the
a
joke
subtle-
doesn't work in the frame of the
subtle
context.
It
delivery
was
there.
kind of a gut check a little bit, kind of or like a kidney shot. It was a
Yeah.
kidney shot. It wasn't like right to the face, but it was just like a little right back there, just to let you know that these corporations are inherently racist, or at least a good chunk of America thinks that. I mean, a really big chunk of it.
Yeah. And it's really I don't know. I mean, it's more just they're just greedy assholes that are like, we can develop the shit out of that and make a ton of vacation tourist money off of it.
At the expense of.
Yes.
Yep. That's kind of how I took a little bit of the message here behind the whole thing.
Because it's 100% like what's happening in our country, but that's here nor there.
Correct.
Dude, but before even all that, when they're at the house, I just knew the sister was gonna be the hilarious comedy relief. And just gotta take a shit, bro.
What'd you say? A luxury shit.
Luxury shit.
Luxury shit.
That was glorious.
That was yeah.
I am very surprised of the amount of shit talk, ass talk, and dick talk.
100%. Dude, everyone she said, she's like, when he came back in the suit, he's like, oh, it was like when he was a little kid. And Rudy goes, it's because it's cold. It was so good. I was losing it, dude. Losing it. And she says, put those huevos away. That shit was so good.
I love too when they dropped him off and his uncle, like Lopez's character, just yeah, you gotta get this job. You look like an asshole, just like the rest of all these.
Hi, man.
The horn when he was doing it. Dude, that shit was so funny.
That was funny.
He said they don't get out much.
Yeah, I don't get out much.
Oh my god. Oh, dude.
All right, but back to being after the suit. Yeah. I don't know. Thank God there wasn't a montage. You know, you don't need that. And it doesn't even. And thank God too, just because that's the thing with this character. It doesn't even work because they did it right with the whole fact the Scarab does take him over and is like, "Let me be in control," and like the Scarab starts moving his body.
And that was the first fight when he was going against Carapace and.
That's a lot of what usually happens in especially like the Young Justice anime or cartoon, not anime. God, well, anime, sure, whatever. But that's like what happens is like the Scarab will at times be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take over. Like I'm taking over now." I don't know how prevalent that is in the comics, but I would assume that's where both materials getting it from.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, shit, you know those memes where or the videos where they change a little bit of the story in Star Wars and it just cuts to the written and directed by George Lucas. Right after that first fight, at the very end, if she would have been like, it's like we're not. If you're like, I recommend lethal mode. Yeah, go ahead. Cut the scene. Cut to the credits. Cut to the credits because he just cut his head off.
But that's another good part about it, like you said, is like, he's got that Peter Parker aspect to him where he wants to be good and he has a sense of morality. But then, he gets pushed over an edge and kind of becomes extremely violent. And that is something that usually the character of Jaime Reyes usually has.
Yeah.
And typically, too, especially in Young Justice, he's usually arguing with the Scarab to not lethally kill people.
Yeah.
And because the Scarab's like, I don't give a single fuck.
Eliminate the threat.
Yeah, the Scarab is usually all about like, nah, we're totally killing X person.
Yeah.
You know.
Scarab should have picked somebody from Jaime's family then.
Swear to God, Nana.
Nana and Uncle Rudy? Dude, when Uncle Rudy stabbed that dude with the bug, and it stuck to him, and then he shook him off. I was like, "Oh my God!"
Dude, I remember his face. I looked over at him, and he was like, like hands on his face, mouth open, and I was like sitting there. I'm like, because as soon as he's fucking stepped, I go, "Oh shit!"
I got PTSD from like Man of Steel. I was like, "Oh no!" I was like,
shook that leg.
"We're gonna get so much hate."
Or dude, when he says, "You're a superhero." We lost it. I was weak. I think I closed my eyes for like 3 minutes laughing so hard. When he turns, he looks at me.
That might be my favorite moment of the whole George Lopez moment.
Now.
Shit was so great. George Lopez was just great.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I loved it too. How
everything.
He just Batman's a fascist.
A fascist.
He's like Blue Beetle's cool. At least he had some humor to him.
Yeah.
Or something like such an Easter egg thing.
Oh yeah, it's all you people that somehow got butthurt about that comment being in the trailers. It's played for jokes in the movie, as you couldn't fucking tell already. But the whole point of Uncle Rudy is that he's like a conspiracy theorist, like to the max.
and apparently like a mechanical genius that just
That was a little random.
that-
that was a little
that
much.
that was the only hokey part I thought about
Of the
in the
movie.
movie.
That was
Yeah.
something
I
they
just have a
like.
disruptor in the back of my truck.
That is
because I gotta
something
perfect it.
I will. That
Come
was
on.
something.
Plays
I'm
the
glad you brought it
Mexican
up.
cartoon. And then the Mexican worker,
The security
starts
guard
laughing at it.
The back that shit was so good.
Dude, so good.
So good. Yeah, and he has to that the shit was that was funny though. He has to kick everything to get it to fucking work. That shit was funny, like the Fonz with
Oh,
everything.
is that what you were saying, Jay? Sorry.
Oh no, it was more. I agree that was one of definitely the movies where it was like, we're gonna need you to suspend your disbelief a little bit here. Like they kind of set it up very lazily in the beginning. It's like I can't remember how they did. Basically, that he's interested in tech and he like finagles and built his own stuff.
The truck was, I think, how they.
But
tried
the
to
truck,
introduce
I
it.
think it was. However, he had the trucks.
Yeah, like,
Taco.
Yeah.
That joke flew over my head until I think at one point he was like,
'Cause it's
at
a
one point he was like,
Tacoma.
quick in the Tacoma, and I was like, oh motherfuck, that's why I called it taco.
You didn't get that. Yeah. When he called it taco, I was just like, God.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I liked how the part of the movie had so many stereotypes to it, and they just embraced them and loved them all, and I thought that was amazing. Like with the family stuff and like the quinceañera, literally like a fiesta at the end and shit like that, and all these like stereotypes for like Hispanic culture, and you're like,
The only stereotype
nah.
they didn't fill was how they were like praying to fucking God when he's up on the ceiling turning into what looks like a devil. That's like the only stereotype of like Latin American culture they didn't fill is how they're usually super religious and they'd
True.
be doing a whole lot of this,
It's
watching
true.
that on their ceiling.
That's true. That is
Sorry,
very
I
true.
hate to. I wasn't gonna say it, but you brought it up about stereotyping them, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just bring this stereotype up because
Well, it was nice how they did it. It was tactful. It was tasteful. They joked about the because here's the thing: stereotypes exist for a reason. For white people, black people, Mexican people, Asian people, there's all stereotypes that exist for a reason. It's how you accept them and how you joke about them that makes them funny. And they did a very good job of it.
you trying to say I put mayonnaise on everything?
Because I fucking do too.
Because I do.
I do.
I
I want
fucking
a
hate mayonnaise.
I want a McMayo when I go there and I get my McChicken.
Dude, same.
I want a McMayo,
Same.
dude. That's what I want. I want the whitest thing possible.
And I think
Breaded, unseasoned chicken and mayo.
I think to your point, that's why it's like good that so much of the
God,
the
that sounds
cast,
so good. Now I
Oh,
want to make chicken.
know.
so much of the cast and crew was Latin or Hispanic. Like
Mhm.
I mean, the director, obviously a bunch of the cast.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure about the writer. I'm pretty sure I saw a picture of the writer. It looked pretty white. Could be mixed. I don't know.
He had some influence.
But I'm about to say at least very knowledgeable. I mean,
Oh, dude, they
Got
did,
a
they did a
looking
great
right-
job.
yeah.
I mean, especially with, and that's the thing is, in Hispanic culture, family is just the nuclear family. I mean, there's kids in Mexican Hispanic families that live well beyond 30 with the family.
Oh, no,
unit.
yeah.
Did you catch? Yeah.
And they did that part.
Sorry.
This was a perfect movie to use this, especially with the family of Blue Beetle and how imperative that was in the storyline.
I will
I was-
say like this. I'm kind of getting a little tired, especially with DC lately. I'm getting a little tired of like the family becoming like a part of it. Work in my head, it works with the Shazam family because they are the Shazam family. They did a way better job of it in the first movie than they did the second one.
Yeah.
But even in Black Adam, we're just like all of the people of the city are hitting these zombie fucking demon things
Yeah.
with bats and just random
Broom handles.
objects. It's like everyone's a fucking hero in this movie. It's like I'm getting a little sick of that from DC. I'm glad you still did it for this movie though, because it works.
It did.
This is the one where it's like, okay, this is what you should have done at first, and then just kind of been done. Well, and then maybe do the first Shazam one because I did pop really hard when the Shazam film. I was like, you guys actually did it. But
And then they shit all over it.
and then yeah, but the family dynamic is really at the heart and the core of this movie, and it I think it works tremendously. I
liked the movie more for that than I did the actual superhero shit.
and what was cool is when Jaime gets
That's probably why it's a good
captured.
movie. That's why it's a good movie.
When
though.
Jaime gets captured, the fact that they had the balls to just be like, see you, Jaime, we're focusing on the family now
Yeah.
and how they're going to get to you now.
Yeah. And they
And-
spent the time, and it was effective time spent. It wasn't like a drawn out thing. They got to it, but they spent the time to give everybody kind of like that development we were
Mhm.
talking about earlier.
I agree. Like, unlike I liked Black Adam, but unlike Black Adam, when you get all those side characters that come in, they have these getting their moment. It didn't feel earned in that movie.
Yep.
In this movie, all those moments feel earned.
And dude, and it was so unexpected. Like Nana, when she's standing there with that Gatling gun, and she goes, "Why are you holding that so comfortably?" And she goes, "She's like, I'll tell you later."
There's a lot you don't know about
I
my
like
past.
it. Yeah, and then she's doing the plan prep, and she's like, "I've been here before,
Yeah,
like
when
on this island and
die,
shit."
you imperialists!
Dude,
She's like,
that was
oh my
amazing.
God.
That was
That's-
amazing. I love that line so much.
Amazing, dude.
Real quick, did you catch the Easter egg in the buildings?
LexCorp.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
Did you
didn't.
not? It
Must
was
not
it
have.
was behind the Cord building.
I will
Okay.
say that's one of them few Easter eggs that I'm like,
I sat there and I saw it, and I
that
was
better
like,
be like a secondary building, like a,
I saw-
because you're not really supposed to be there.
I mean, I saw it as the Easter egg, and I just saw it, and I was like, that just kind of makes me wish that like whoever the hell they want to just make cameo of the character.
And dude, honestly, this
Obviously didn't get it, but you know.
this city to me, to be completely honest, was new. I've never heard anything about this place.
I don't even know. Is it the city like that he usually is in for the comics?
So the city of Palmyra is a new. It's kind of funny. So the city of Palmyra, apparently, from what I've heard, was originally made for this movie.
Okay.
Like, was created for this movie.
Okay.
But in the recent adaptations of Blue Beetle, since those can be made quicker than a movie, it actually came out first in the newer comics.
Hmm.
So it now exists in the comics, but it's new. I think he's originally from El Paso. I think is where he was
yeah,
set.
I was gonna say in Young Justice,
Um,
he's in Texas.
Yeah, so it's
Which
probably.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Um,
yeah.
and I think actually, well, it does because I think they filmed a lot of this movie in Texas, and I think there were spots in
They did.
Puerto Rico.
They
I
did
think.
film it in. I think they might have actually filmed it in El Paso.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
It makes real sense then.
Yeah, I really like the style choice they went for Palmyra. It's very kind of Miami, very like almost like 80s Miami. You got like the synth,
cyberpunk Miami.
yeah, like the synth wave music, like,
And, like, the
which I really like. I
and,
like,
like,
that
the-
style of music. So
And like the electro floating banners that
Mhm.
were like moving through the sky and around buildings and stuff.
in a weird way, it almost felt like this was
Oh.
a slightly in the future in a weird way. Just
Yeah.
the way it was set up, I was like, oh, that's a fancy
So
ass
they
looking
filmed
And
place.
just the
it-
town too.
Yeah.
Because he was coming from Gotham, where he went
Yeah.
to school.
Yep.
And you know,
Yeah.
obviously, as we know Gotham, it doesn't look anything like that.
No.
so yeah, so it's like it's interesting that all the technology is here down in. I mean, probably right on the border. I would assume that's probably what they're intending it to be, since it's of course in America, but as they alluded to, but it was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet how they did it.
Yeah, filmed mostly in Atlanta Metro and Decatur, Georgia, and then Los Angeles,
Really?
and El Paso and Puerto Rico.
Dude, it must be insanely beneficial to
Georgia.
film in Georgia.
Oh, I
Because there's a
bet.
lot of series.
I believe it is, and I can't remember the reason why, but I know that it is, and that's like why a lot of them do it.
Dude, I mean, every small town in Georgia is probably associated with some series in some way. It's crazy. Like even like Knight Rider, like my hometown Conyers. Knight Rider was filmed 100% in Conyers. Yeah. Like and when my parents were down there, they used to like see the actors around town. Like
I wonder if it's the same reason that a lot of like movies are getting filmed in like Canada too. Like a lot of like big, even like bigger movies are going to like Toronto and Quebec and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
there's definitely some financial reason behind it of like it being cheaper somehow. Or
Australia too. I heard a lot.
yes,
of Australia.
Australia
Apparently, they get
getting really
big.
too.
They get big like tax incentives.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Because
Makes
I
sense.
wonder if like because you're filming it there, that's like where you're gonna be. Well, you're paying the taxes on the
Usually
wages. and then-
usually you'd pay them for.
Oh well, there's probably that, but then you're also kind of bringing. You're bringing a bunch of crew and cast there, so that's you're booming up
the
their economy there while
Yeah.
you're there. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Trying to think of
That's why you see it in a lot of
Um,
film credits. Like you'll see the Georgia logo where
Yeah,
it
the
says
peach.
Georgia,
Yeah.
the peach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where were we? We would have been when they go to the
Well, we kind of hopped around all over the place, but
because she stole because obviously she stole Scarab. You got it. Then now, I think then they had their fight the fight with Carapace, where
Oh yeah.
where he whips Taco around and throws that thing out the back of it
hell
and
yeah.
smokes him. And I'm like, all right.
Dude,
He
totally
was
realistic.
he was screaming like a motherfucker when Scarab took everything over.
He
Screaming.
screams a lot. That's-
And then he goes and tries to reach for him, gets shit whipped into a fridge, and then now he's just this mech genius. Like when he sat down at the Blue Beetle's computer and just fucking gets into it. He's like, all right, let's figure out how to get this out of you. Like, just you went from just this dude sitting in a house with a mullet to like
Guy in the chair.
computer genius. Yeah, the guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair.
Exactly. I'm like, come on, man. That's. I was like, come on, dog. Come on. But still hit on everything he was supposed to do. Still hit.
So the computer hacking bugged me less than him just being able to fly the ship. That was the part that I was kind of like, you had me with the hacks because he's just. I could see him being the dude that's always on his computer looking up
I
conspiracy.
didn't even care
It
anymore.
plays into it for me. That's the thing. It's like when he did that, I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, what can this guy not do? Like he's this comedian they bring in, and he's like, so he can create like disruptors that work remotely with security systems at the most technologically advanced place that's in control of the entire city.
They'll
Oh, I'm
explain
just
it.
disrupting.
They'll explain it in the second movie how he was like a sidekick to the Ted Cord Blue Beetle or something.
100%.
I was
waiting for that to happen.
I was in fact the original Booster Gold. In fact, I'm oh my god,
Dude, I'm
I
telling you,
was the
dude.
original Booster Gold.
Dude, just see the subtle things that in this one, like when he comes up after he comes up on the side of him, he goes, "You stink," and he goes, "This is your shirt." It's so stupid. It's so funny, dude. Oh God, it's so funny. But shit. Shit. So then after that, what would that have been? That's when they go to the house, and then they're on the computer, all this shit, and they find out, and they reveal that he becomes one with them with the machine, and then he'd have to kill him. And I'm gonna be in this thing forever. No,
Yep.
just until you die.
no, just until you die.
And
The good news is that it protects you and it keeps you alive. The bad news is that you can't remove it unless you die.
so I'm wearing this thing forever. Well,
No,
not forever.
Not forever.
Just until you're
until-
dead.
just-
Which, I mean, obviously a little freaky, but if that shit happened to me in real life, I'd be fucking pumped. If that thing selected me. Let's go. When he was looking in the mirror and that fucking cut that he had, like the blue kind of went in and healed it. I thought it would have been cool with the black shit that was in his mouth if that would have like came out and fucking went back in and healed him up. That would have kind of been
I wonder if they maybe like did like a pass trying that, and they're like, looks too much like Venom.
That was my
Probably.
follow up. Is it could have possibly the symbiote went a little too far. The symbiote idea.
A little too symbiote, all right.
Yeah.
Let's reel it back to alien technology, please.
Yeah. So then they changed that.
Heavy
shit to
emphasis on the tech.
blue. Changed that shit to blue.
I did like to the opening credit crawl going like it showed you like it didn't show you like where, but it was showing the multiple scarabs that got sent out into the universe because that's like the whole thing behind it.
It's pretty sweet.
And you saw the green one
Mhm.
that I think goes to Mars. So
They also in the newspaper clippings they referred to both original Blue Beetles and how
well, okay, so then even so then
and
to
both
that-
suits and both of the suits are actually in what is he called? Probably
Well, doesn't he
the
say
bug bed.
Well,
That's what it's called now. I don't care what it's actually called. That's what it's called now. They fucking went back to the bug bed.
when he said
That's what it's
bug
fucking called
bed.
now. I don't care what forever and for always. It is the bug bed now. It could be the nest. It could have been anything. Bug bed. It is.
The bug bed.
Oh, the bug farts out of the machine. That was funny.
When he's sitting in the chair,
That was one of
though,
them things
I
where
know,
I was
I
like,
know.
"Ah, boy,
Doesn't
step
he
too far
say
for
By
me."
funny, I
the
mean not at all.
name Garrick?
What's that?
When he's explaining to Jaime about how the scarab's attached to him, doesn't he say the name Garrick or something? He said like a different name, like that wasn't Ted Cord. He said like you said, like
Was
there-
it Gareth?
maybe Gareth. I thought he referred to the other Blue Beetle, like that wasn't Ted, and that's how he's saying how he like getting into that computer. That's how he found out that the thing is like merging with him.
I might have missed that line. But see, the only
I think I
reference
missed
that I remember of,
So who's the other original Blue Beetle? Like, what's the name?
I imagine you'd be right because it's Dan Garrett,
I think he
Garrett.
said Garrett.
so that would make sense. Because I saw,
I think he
I saw
goes
Garrett
like
in the newspaper clippings. I just never remembered hearing.
I'm pretty
his
sure
actual
when
name.
he's explaining it to him, he said, "Yeah, this Garrett guy, it fused with him," and he was saying,
Oh
how,
no, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
that's how
I missed
he
the
knew.
name drop. I guess I missed
Yeah.
his name, but yeah, they.
Yeah.
So
he
yeah,
said it quick.
so Garrett is technically like the mentor to Ted Cord, and
Mhm.
yes, the symbiote in the comics actually did bind to him and took to him as a host.
Because
But
Ted Cord never did in this movie, right? That's what they said.
no, and it doesn't in the comics.
Okay.
And
either.
it doesn't, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he
'Cause,
literally does actually, like in the comics, the Ted Cord just makes the gear.
Because
attack.
the original one is his mentor, and then when he dies, he tries to get the scarab to then attach to him, but it never does.
Okay.
So then he becomes the Blue Beetle out of memory of his mentor, but
Ah.
he's not attached to the scarab like
Okay.
the original was. And then
What was the
when
scarab's
Jaime
name?
gets it, he becomes the first one to bind with it again since Garrett.
What was the scarab's name again? It was. They kept saying it over and over again, but I always missed it.
Is it Caraplax or something like that? I can't
Well,
remember. what the name
that
they
was
gave
that's
it.
not.
or no, that's
No,
Carapla.
no,
No,
the-
it starts with a K though. I think.
It's yeah, it does begin with a K. It's like on the tip.
Carapax.
Yeah, Carapax is the villain.
I can't remember. I kept hearing it, and I kept trying to listen.
Carapax, the indestructible man.
And I kept trying to. Well, fucking that motherfucker looked like he came straight out.
Kajida.
That's it.
Gosh, yeah.
That's it.
Kajida.
And then of course Carapace looks like fucking Destiny character, 100%.
He reminded, dude. Again, speaking of hodgepodge of superhero movies, to me, like at the end when he's got the whip out, all I could think was Whiplash
Iron
from
Man
Iron
2,
Man
yeah.
2.
Mm.
I was like, that's Whiplash.
I
It's
literally
the
almo-
same thing.
Just-
I almost looked over at you and said, "Iron Man 2?"
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, when he got the whip out and he hit him, I was like, that's Whiplash. Iron Man 2 just looks cooler.
this looks cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, the action sequences in this were fucking sweet.
You know, fuck you. I'll say this movie's better than Iron Man 2. I fucking said it.
That's
But
so
y'all went and saw that piece of trash,
very,
didn't you?
very difficult to do. So difficult to do, yeah.
Yeah, at least they went and watched that.
Yeah.
Well, that was 13 years ago.
I know.
We kind of had to.
That's true.
Whereas, again, nowadays, I could just theoretically wait 2 months if I wanted.
It's true. Shit, you don't have to wait anymore. You can just stream the shit illegally like everybody else does, apparently.
Yeah. Fuckers.
People get that shit the next day,
Yeah.
like full HD.
That's on the people that are working for the. That's disgruntled employees that work for these studios, and they get their hands on a
Good copy.
a good digital copy, and they flush it out there.
Yeah, because a lot of them are in different languages and stuff, which to an extent I know sometimes release dates are a little bit different in certain areas, but not that fucking different.
Right.
I can't remember the last thing.
So we're past when they're in the bug bed.
The bug bed. Yeah, that's right.
Bug bed. Bug bed. And what was it? They're all getting ready, and then the family's house gets blown up, and the dad has the heart attack,
Yeah.
and he gets taken away because they have this claw that apparently.
it's Jaime's canon event.
Okay. Okay. So that's a thing now. The canon.
That's a thing. Yes, that is
That's
a
a
thing,
thing
now.
now. Fuck, I see that all over TikTok too. It's fucking everywhere. Like canon event. and
'Cause
Shit
we
like that.
love Across the Spider-Verse.
I know. I love those. I do. But
I'd
still.
have the guy's autograph on a Miles Morales pop, but he wanted cash only, so I was like, yeah, turn around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like one of the very few ones there, cash only. I was just like later then.
What is it? A fucking dive bar? Jesus Christ! Money.
Everyone else took a credit card payment, and he was just like cash only. And I
It's
was
the
like,
dumbest shit. Come on,
yeah.
dude.
I was
Come
like,
on,
you're
dude.
not that important to me. You ain't Toby or Andrew.
My
You're
money's-
not that important to me.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's make believe money or if it's cash money. Money's money. Damn it. I hate that shit. But be that as it may.
Yeah.
But
Back to it.
but
Canon event. Dad
Canon
has a
event.
heart attack.
yep,
Yeah.
as our attack, which definitely was a canon event because later we get that fucking whole world between worlds fucking scene where he's fucking out on in the island in the middle of this fucking vast area
Dude, he's
between
dying.
Will that scene not work for you?
Well, it was.
Good God,
They
yeah.
keep reaching. They keep reaching for this multiverse shit, and they just keep shoving it right there, and it's almost played out to me to an extent.
What?
I didn't take that as a multiverse. thing at
No,
all.
I just took that as he was dying, and he
Well,
was about to step into the afterlife, and his dad was like, "You gotta go back."
It's basically the same thing that happened to Rocket in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Dude, every scene looks the fucking same. So
Hodgepodge of superhero movies.
it all looks the fucking same. So I knew that it wasn't actually a multiverse thing, but that's kind of the way that it's set up to look. Like it looks like fucking Master Roshi's fucking like the fucking planet in the middle of nowhere.
King Kai.
Whatever,
Yes.
fucking Roshi. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, King Kai. Whatever.
Mhm.
And but same concept. It just all seems to so played out in those moments. You know, there's so many other ways you can do that, and I feel like I've seen the same scene so many times, especially Multiverse of Madness. It looked like it was ripped right out of that, and just new people were put into it. Opening scene, to be honest.
Well, I don't know. Scene worked for me.
I didn't.
But-
dis-
Yeah,
I didn't.
it
I didn't
worked
just.
for me.
I didn't hate it. It just seems like it's getting played out a little bit. They're just. That's my only opinion on it.
I don't know. I have a weird perspective. I feel like, to me, I could watch any movie and I can be like, seen this scene before, seen this scene before, seen this scene before. Because almost every movie takes inspiration from something, and there's only so many stories you can tell in like a 2-hour period. Granted, this movie does a very heavily job taking inspiration from other
Oh
projects.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it does it pretty well. And I'll be honest and admit it, I'm always probably going to be a sucker for a son and father scene like that.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
always eat that shit up. I'm super close with my dad. Those scenes always usually hit home for me. I think they did a great job with that. I also think they did a really great job at another scene that kind of hit me out of nowhere was... No, that actually
was-
annoyed me. That was one of them
that
ones
was-
So
where
the
I was
scene
like,
didn't hit. Damn it! It didn't hit 100%.
No, that was hilarious.
I mean, God. Okay, Adam Warlock.
That part of it.
Dude, it's making fun of fucking what's the name of the painting? Like
Is that the moment of creation or whatever?
yeah, it's just that was hilarious. It's just like this godlike power and then man, just that I thought it was fucking hilarious. I don't even think it was supposed to be meant as a joke, and I just was like, that's fucking funny that they're just doing the figure touch of the moment of creation, just God and Adam just touching. I thought that was hilarious.
I would have if the last movie we didn't go see in theaters didn't do the same fucking thing.
But that movie too did it as a total fucking joke.
I know.
I mean,
I get it. Hey, I'm not discounting that part of it, but still.
all right.
I'll be honest, I didn't
Haters.
really like that scene in Guardians 3, and I was kind of like, oh, here we go, we're referencing this painting again in another superhero movie.
Gunn and his damn moment of creations.
But the scene,
Yeah, that was in the final edits.
Yeah.
Gunn was like, no,
No.
I'm telling you guys, this will hit.
Do this.
the crowd loved it in Guardians 3. They'll go for it again.
Yeah.
Double down. Double down.
But prior to him referencing the painting, I think that scene worked. But for me, another scene that I think that was like a pretty like emotional scene that worked for me was when he's sitting talking to Jenna Cord, and she's talking about how you look at this house as it's so great.
It's just stuff.
but it's just stuff.
That
like
was awesome.
your house is full of love and family and all that stuff.
That one.
And she did a fucking.
Incredible.
I don't know. I've never seen her in anything before. I think her
Yeah.
name's Bruna.
No, that's
Bruna?
like this is her debut.
What was it again?
I think her first name's Bruna something.
Bruna Marquezine. Yeah, we know.
Jesus Christ.
No, this
Um,
is like her debut movie, I think, and she actually is Brazilian, so that's pretty cool.
She killed
They
it.
even said in
But
the
she did
movie
a-
how she was Brazilian.
She did a great job.
No, that hit for me too, just because it's like always so true in society of like how when you grow up in poverty or like borderline, your family lives like paycheck to paycheck, you grow up wanting material things and to have like a grand luxurious lifestyle to where you don't have any like worry about financial stability. And then on the flip side of that is usually most people that do grow up and have all the material things that are financially stable, set for life, trust fund kids, whatever, deep down in secret, they're usually unhappy and usually their families are like fucking nightmares.
Oh yeah.
And
What's all this stuff if you have nobody to enjoy it with?
exactly. And that's
You know?
like, you know, that's why it hits for me because it's just like they established it too in the movie with Jaime, like how he was like very, you know, cultural in the mindset of like I have to go to school and do all this stuff for my family, and like how he makes the comments of like I was supposed to go get rich so then I could pull you guys out of poverty and we could live wealthy and
In that same style
You know.
of house that they were having that conversation in.
yeah.
And that was the part that I actually kind of liked
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Like I loved how like then he meets this woman that he's just mesmerized by from her beauty and
Bull
She's-
can't blame him one bit.
right and she's you know and she has all this stuff and she kind of tells him on the flip side like
Unforgivable things, Jordan.
you're
Unforgivable. Unforgivable things.
such unforgivable things like he would let a scarab crawl up his ass.
Oh, dude, I'd take all the scarabs.
Crawl up his ass. Oh man. Anyways,
Culo.
but yeah,
Culo,
I just
sir.
yeah,
Culo. Culo.
Culo. Dude, you guys, I mean, can we speak it now? But I know those things they were saying and the translation caption, it's like that's not what that person said.
Not all of it. A lot of it was spoken.
I'm sorry,
in-
I know what mijo means, and
Yeah.
it's like
Well, a lot of it.
that doesn't translate to that.
Well,
like
they didn't do full translations. They did it in a
No,
way that
they
yeah,
absolutely did.
yeah. They just did like spoken, like what you need to know what he was trying to put across. That's
yeah,
it.
the directors and them were just, hey, say something relatable in this atmosphere in Spanish to each other. We're just gonna caption over it anyway.
Well, and that
with
and,
what we want.
well, that too, and it's like,
Like-
when you hear somebody that speaks that and it's their native tongue, it doesn't. Okay, perfect example. One of my good buddies speaks it fluently and
Mhm.
took Spanish in high school because why wouldn't you? It's a free pass. Motherfucker failed because it's not traditional Spanish.
I mean, I grew up with a friend that, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
his family, they were from Mexico, so they were Mexican, and that's the thing, is like, yeah, he thought, oh, free pass. Well, no, because guess what, dude?
You're speaking
This-
dirty Spanish.
Yeah, the Spanish that they teach in schooling is the Romantic period
Mhm.
Spain Spanish.
Yes.
That sounds just like French.
Romance
that sounds,
language.
Yeah, that sounds just like Italian, and
Mhm.
it's like loosely all together.
It's all based off
because
Latin.
they're all from this same region of
Latin.
the world.
Latin.
Yeah, and I too knew someone who took that approach and then failed out of it.
Yeah.
and
and,
it's
and,
like,
that's what he would always say. Because I remember he would always get so mad because he would tell the teacher, he'd be like, "What I'm saying is not wrong."
and she'd
it's
probably
just-
be like, "Yeah, you're right, but
it's not what I'm looking for."
It's not what I'm teaching and
Yep.
looking for."
Yep,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
He always said, I'm speaking dirty Spanish and they're speaking clean Spanish.
yeah.
And I was like, huh. It's like, that's interesting. And you could tell in this, like when they'd say things that they just rolled off the tongue, it would just be like, yes. Or, you know, like,
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you knew they were saying things, and then the caption was just like, "Yes, come on." And I
Yeah.
was like, "That's not at all what they said right there."
And
I was like,
and I thought it was even funnier when Saranda and she goes, "Andale," and they didn't fucking do it. I was like, "Come on, man!" I was like, "That was it was actually pretty perfect the way they did it." Andale, and they didn't.
"Who was the face of the big evil?"
Oh, they didn't
corporation?
translate
they
it.
didn't at all. It just said "Andale," and it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's perfect." But
In case you didn't know, we were trying to say this person's a dick.
yeah,
This person's an absolute asshole.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know. They're an asshole.
What was there else? I mean, there was obviously after the kidnapping happened, they all get together and then they go to that island just out in it's like a fortress.
Well, yeah, because they caught Jaime with the claw thing that neutralized the scarab power.
Which
So then he gets hauled off, and then yeah, that's when I think Jay alluded to it, how instead of focusing so much on what's going on with his character, that's when they kicked it to the family and the heroine, and it's kind of like, let's kind of see how they respond and react now, and just hilariously go grab a bunch of weapons and get up on them.
hilarious. The fucking the shield and the fist that she has.
The flying scarab that was.
Farting
I just
on
kind of
everybody.
honestly, I'm like thinking on it, and all I'm kind of picturing along with it is the fucking owl from Watchmen.
So funny you bring that up. Alan Moore, who wrote The Watchmen, used to write for Blue Beetle, and I can't remember what the team was at the time, but there was a certain story he wanted to do with those characters, and DC wouldn't let him, so he created The Watchmen, and so the Owlmobile or the Owl ship is
Yeah.
based off of Blue Beetle ship because
That's awesome.
literally
That is
what-
sweet. That's pretty sweet. Everything about the Watchmen's fun. It's just the goat, because he's the goat. But they have their moment. They have their like you said, they had their moment where he loses control and everything when he's fighting Carapace after they did the transfer.
Yeah, the data.
Oh yeah,
code
because he thinks
transfer.
Uncle Rudy is dead now.
Yeah,
That's true.
so that about sends him to the edge until that fucker's just on the bottom of the ship, just rubbing his beard.
Dude,
I was dying.
see at the and that's why I think at the end
Yeah, just
my belief was still suspended because when it just ended on that, I'm like, yeah, he's just it's George Lopez. He's a fucking badass.
Yeah,
okay, I don't
yeah.
care. He can do whatever he wants. This goddamn movie.
Yeah, he's not dying. And apparently, he's just this fucking super genius. You know.
I'm telling you, dude. I guarantee they will retcon that shit in the sequel. I guarantee they do.
Dude, I swear to you, I thought at the end when she got him the truck that she was gonna hire him to be something for her.
Yeah,
I
that would have made sense.
That's what I thought was gonna happen was when she like throws something to him and then he pulls up and it's keys. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, a little more approachable, a little more feasible than oh, you're just this random dude in this house that knows how to do all this wild shit. Just so happens.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big important job doing tech shit from this giant company that which he probably wouldn't do anyway. But
What do you not
And
like?
I
What do you not like it? Color's a little spot on.
yeah,
Come on, guys, come over and help me like it a little more.
Like it. Yeah, I like that. Help me like it.
Help me like it.
I thought
It's blue.
I thought it was. I mean, granted, I understand it because again, they like the brain waves sync and then they become one. But when
he was
when he was
Leia.
going to kill the guy and the scarab stops him, I was like, yeah. From what I've seen of iterations of Blue Beetle, that scarab would have been all gung ho to kill that fucking dude. So,
yeah. That I was a little.
but again, I kind of
Okay.
get it because if they got on the same wavelength, the scarab's kind of like, well, you shouldn't do this because this is wrong.
and it learned
That's-
something from
And I
him,
did like how it-
Yes, that
Yeah,
is
that's how I
100% how I took it, but I'm 100% on board with you. When that happened initially, I was like, that's not how that would have went.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
and
not how
even in the
it
beginning
would've
of the movie when she's like, I recommend Lethal Force.
Yeah.
I recommend Lethal Force. And
Yeah.
at the end, I'm like, that's why I said, I was kind of like, eh. And then I'm like, okay, well, he learned something. The Scarab learned something from him.
Exactly.
finally.
And
Yeah.
I do think that once
And I did like
Jaime
how-
like opened up to fully getting the symbiotic relationship. Yes, I agree. That's the way I at least took it as well.
That's
is
how I
that
took it. Yeah.
that she ended up learning something from him, but
did
it's
like
still
how,
the thing that does strike me really weird is he is so about
Sorry.
not killing, but all of the the family just.
Kick their ass.
So where did he learn that from? Honestly, because nobody else in this family gives a shit. They're just like, oh, you fuck with the family, you're fucking dead,
The
dog.
college graduate, the
dude,
law graduate.
Yeah, dude. He went
Like-
learned.
Like, guys, come on.
He's like, I'm gonna get popped for this shit.
He lived, bro. He was going to school in Gotham. He was watching the Batman. He was like, "Well, Batman gets pretty hardcore, but he never kills people. You know what? That's a good thing."
You know, that is true. He did go to school in Gotham. He's like, this Batman's pretty fucking cool, man.
I liked when he just always talking about flying, and he says, "Superman flies. I don't fly." I like that. That was a
Yeah.
pretty good reference.
I did
now that
like
you
too
say
how
that-
it did. I mean, granted, it was at the very end, and it's like last second, and that was like the montage moment in the movie. But I did like how like it humanitized Carapax to where like you actually then felt for the villain.
And it was cool how
It
she
was
unlocked
very quick.
and she unlocked all of his memories that had been suppressed for all that time, and that was sweet.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. That was a good concept that they did to kind of bring him, instead of just this bad guy finding the error in his ways. You know, he actually remembered what really happened and brought it back.
that bitch to hell.
He had blows himself up. Fuck this shit.
I also thought it was kind of cool that, normally you do like when people do flashbacks like that, they'll start from like the earliest point in the story.
Yeah,
This started from like most recently and went backwards. I thought that was kind of cool that they kind of
That was
changed that up a
different,
little. Yeah, overall, fuck that bitch. Glad he dragged her to hell. Let's
Oh
go.
yeah. Fuck that FDB. Bodega.
Then it cuts over to then we get to the part where Uncle Rudy gets the truck from Jenna, and then Jaime takes her off. So, hey, you want a little bit of privacy here, girl? Come on, ma. Over here.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does.
God.
I sense blood rushing to your midsection.
Stop!
Oh, dude, I liked when they're on the bed and he goes to stand up. He's doing this. He's covering himself in the when they brushed in. He was covering his crotch with his shirt when he got up.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I started cracking up. Yeah, as soon as when they were about to kiss and Rudy interrupted him, he stood up and he was covering himself.
Yeah, this movie does not shy
Oh my
away
God, I
from
forgot about that.
Jaime's
That was
boners.
so funny. Her mom died.
Yeah,
that was fucking
forgot. Oh
so funny.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
We weren't doing anything. Her mom died.
Her mom died.
So good.
So good.
So stupid.
Dude, I was so surprised. I didn't think that I'd be laughing for basically the entire movie.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
like
that was kind of surprising to me too.
Never thought that. That was awesome.
All right. Do you want to give it a score? Is there anything else you wanted to kind of speak on the spoiler review?
No, I want to see another one.
yeah, I would like to see another one. That's why I highly recommend you guys please go out and see this movie because
They need the money and they need the incentive really to keep going.
that's really it. And apparently they've already come out and said, well, if this movie doesn't really do well, we're not gonna look into doing another Latino superhero movie. Really, it's gonna be harder to get the budget at least. And it's just like you guys are snake little pieces of shit,
It had
but
nothing to do with the fucking Hispanic aspect of it.
it's like
It's the culture right now that's the problem.
like
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. Please, like this movie, like it's so much better than Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Oh
So
God.
It's
So good.
It's arguably better than Flash.
I liked the Flash. I think this movie's more consistent.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a complete movie too.
I think I would notch this a little bit above the Flash, honestly.
Yeah.
Better than Black Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like Black Adam too.
and I thought Black Adam's a good time. I was like, hey, nothing special, but
I feel like Dave Portnoy about to give a 9 score in on the pizza thing.
I mean, I would say that you're talking about 4 Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would give it a 9. I was gonna say I'd give this a 9
Oh my!
because I really enjoyed it.
If we're getting down to the decimal, I was gonna probably be in the 9.293 area, because you know that I can't. You know that I have to leave some room.
Yeah, dude.
But
Whatever.
nothing will
Sure.
ever get a 10, unless it's Revenge of the Sith.
Or The Dark Knight. Yeah.
Well, if it's Nolan, it's always got a chance.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I guess real quick. Post credit scene. We're not going to talk about the second one. We didn't see it. It's a reference to that old superhero TV cartoon that they referenced in the show, where they cut to the security team. And it's another reference to that again. But the first one, Ted Cord, or we'll go back to the bug bed.
Say it. Yes.
And the computer turns on. We hear Ted. Well, I'm assuming Ted Cord is coming through, basically saying, "Hey, let Jenna Cord know that her dad still lives." So please, once again, go see this movie so we can get a second one, so I can get my boy Ted Cord on screen. Hopefully, Jason Sudeikis. That's what the rumors around the.
It was cool. They showed it was coming from a satellite too, like a satellite transmission.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like when it was showing like where it was where it was sourcing the video feed from, it was like some external satellite.
Word.
So he's stuck somewhere.
But I need my boy. I'm glad we got Jaime, but I need my boy Ted too.
Listen, DC fans, if you let down the rest of your universe by not supporting this and allowing it to have a second attempt, you're doing yourselves a disservice. And don't talk shit when they don't make it and go, well, they're not coming out with anything good. Well, I wonder why, because they're not wasting their money on you.
My
Solid.
I mean,
solid
keep
facts.
preaching. I agree 100% with that. I think I'm gonna land at around an 8.3.
8-3. Good old 8-3.
Good old 8.3.
I think it's a great movie, at least as a fan. Maybe if I watch it again, like the more film critic side of me might give it like in like a 6 or a 7.6 range. But as a comic book fan, I had a great time. I had a lot of great laughs. I'm looking forward to seeing this again, whether it's I decide to go in theaters again or if I, eventually get too busy and just don't have time until it comes out on streaming. But please go see this fucking movie, please. I swear to God, if I fucking go to work Monday and the first article I see is Blue Beetle only makes $15 million, I'm gonna be so goddamn pissed.
Remember when it was 94%? Well, now it's like 70-something. It's not fresh anymore.
That's what I'm like sitting here like, okay, so if it falls below like a 75% on critic rating, do they just revoke the certified fresh?
You're not fresh anymore.
I think they do. If you fall below the percentage somehow, they'll just be like, sorry.
You ain't so
you're
free.
No longer fresh.
What a time to be what a
Past
thing.
your expiration date, dog.
Yeah, what a
Your
thing.
best by date is passed.
We'll just be like, man, remember that movie dropped and it was certified fresh immediately, but then no one saw it, so they just ripped it. It's like,
Oh, like the rest of your fucking movies. Okay. DC. I mean, if they garnered the support if they garnered the same support as they did on Twitter talking shit about fucking James Gunn as opposed to this, then they'd be fucking taking off and popping off by now.
The meme of showing like a crowded theater or whatever, and it says DC fans online, and then it says DC fans in theaters, and it's an empty theater. I'm like, nothing is more true than that fucking.
I swear
meme
to
right
God.
there.
And I'm on Twitter now, and now I fucking start to see it. Is they bitch at each other. If you spent half that energy and put it into going to see a fucking movie,
oh yeah, dude. That's why it's frustrating.
and that's the thing is I haven't been on Twitter at all, or X. I'm sorry.
X gonna give it to you.
Suck it. But now that I'm on there, dude, it's almost kind of.
Welcome.
I mean, it's irritating.
Welcome.
Thanks for that,
Welcome to
fuckers.
Yeah.
To the window, to the wall.
No.